You were the fastest by time. So it's an award that says you did it with the cheerleader. These are the poster cars. Like, it was so cool to see them together.
That's exactly right. Nick spun
twice.
Two full rotations. This is a track day recap. Today we have Sam, Nick, and Kennan. We have just returned a few days ago, weeks ago, I don't know, from the track. And we're going to talk about what our experience was like. Sam, go ahead.
What an experience.
Okay, I want to start off by, let me tell you something. Over the last couple of weeks, since we got back, there's been some dispute over who was the fastest driver. Okay?
Right. The fastest period. A-class,
Yeah.
real cars.
No, there's been some dispute. Kennan, who was the fastest driver?
It wasn't me.
Certainly not Kennan.
Definitely
So Kennan's not
me.
going to take a position. Nick, who was the fastest driver?
I think we have to delineate fastest
he's
driver and fastest car because they're separate things.
You know what? I agree with you. So let's start with fastest driver. When we
Nick was
me.
neither.
Me. What is wrong with you?
That's easy.
Nick, okay, so Nick shows up to this thing, and I'm sure it was clear on camera. He shows up to this thing in a tracksuit with a personalized stitched track bag, talking all this stuff, pointing to the track, and this is where you brake.
As you do.
And he finished third or something.
I think it was second in the A-class and third in the daily driver category. But as you said, and I wish I had recorded, you would have beat me on that last lap. I was on pace.
You mean you would have beaten
But
me?
what
Yes.
happened on that last lap?
It was a minor traction control
This
issue.
I don't think got videoed. Maybe it did, but Nick spun. He spun and went off.
Twice.
He did two
Spun
full
twice.
rotations off with his Lamborghini. That wasn't good.
And this was on truly the final lap where Doug said the last lap is never a good idea.
Basically what happened
And you
is-
said, I'm sending it.
I had
everybody
beaten
says
Nick.
one more
I had
lap.
beaten Nick in the Ford GT with my lap time, and Nick kind of let that fester all day. And then at the end of the day, he's like, "I'm going to go out there and do it." And I said to Kennan, I was like, "This is exactly where stuff goes bad." Because Nick's out there, he's got something to prove. He knows it's the last lap of the day, and on the last corner.
We had a slight oversteer problem. What I realized is the reason Doug was beating me was I had traction control on. It was limiting power. So I turned the traction
Do you
control
think
off.
that was the problem?
That was the only reason.
Do you think
That was
maybe
the main
turning
problem.
traction control off was the problem?
Well, it did result in a slower lap time overall.
You didn't finish.
Yes, precisely.
Right, that was the slowest.
The clock's still going on that one.
Yeah.
No, it was a scary moment, and I kind of feared it would happen. You were doing really well, and I think you would have beaten me, but unfortunately, you have to finish.
It was
That's part of it.
In order to finish first you must finish.
yes.
Okay, so
But
Sam,
I still feel like, I was the one pushing the limits. The best driver award, I think, still belongs here.
what?
And then Sam
Self-proclaimed
Sam
best
had the most
driver.
capable car. Both of you guys
And I was
deserve
there.
credit for showing
Okay,
up.
I'm gonna make a clear point here. I was the fastest driver.
Right,
I
we
was
both
the
were-
fastest
Based on what
driver.
data?
For Doug and I to be the fastest drivers.
This is okay. Over the last couple of weeks, this legend has grown that Sam was the fastest driver. He had the fastest car. That's a great point.
Yeah.
And congratulations for that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
However, as the fastest driver, I think you guys all did well. Hopefully
think you guys
Next
did
time we get out there, you can. When we all got in the same car, I was the fastest.
But it
You
was
had-
your car.
Yeah. You had so much more
my
seat
car.
time.
I've driven it 4 times. It's a trash car. There's nothing to that. He did a full lap in it before his timed lap. He got more seat time in it than I have.
If I may, I put a lot of thought into this, and I prepared awards for everyone.
Oh, no.
Based on their driving.
Oh God. Okay.
So Kennan,
oh boy.
slow, methodical, capable of going much faster than he actually did.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of the Formula One Ferrari team, where they are capable of going fast but screw it up for themselves. That is a signed hat. by
Oh
both
my
drivers.
gosh.
That's actually a good gift.
Well, thank you.
Doug,
AWS logo on the side.
you beat me by the amount of time it would take someone really fast to solve a Rubik's Cube. So you get a Rubik's Cube.
And I am
You may
someone
pass
really
that down.
fast,
Very
so
nice.
thank you very much. Thank
And
you very
Sam,
Oh, no.
you were the fastest
Wow.
by time. So it's an award that says you did it with the cheerleader.
much. Where did you get that? Where
It
did
was
you get
just
that?
hanging around.
This is
What
very
does that
sweet,
mean?
Nick.
What
It
does
was-
that mean?
It was next to my monogram track bag and track helmet. It's just
Where did that? Is that
I did it.
a cheer? let me
It's a
see.
cheerleader.
you don't have trophies in your house like this? Just
Nick has
generic.
many.
You
Did your
did a
wife?
trophies.
Is this from your wife? Where did this come from?
I found it in the office earlier.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I really appreciate it. It's the first trophy I've ever
Yes.
received.
so is
Congratulations.
nobody going to give me credit for being the fastest except me?
That's correct.
He and them. He and him don't want to take a position. He's trying to maintain the position that he was the fastest. So he's
In no
out.
world is Nick right.
I had the slowest car. Well, Kennan maybe.
Slowest car.
Well,
You have 580 horsepower.
And it weighed like 7,000 pounds with steel brakes.
So you're going to try to sit here and be like, you worked your car to the highest level of its capacity, and so in your mind,
Nick had the only automatic, the most power almost.
so true. He had the only auto.
And he's saying
He
he
didn't have to
had
worry about
the
shifting.
slowest car.
Key gear is known for shifting slowly, so it's,
Right.
I don't.
We're
think
out
that's
here
a
doing. I'm in the
advantage.
Ford GT like this because of the helmet. And you're, oh, yeah, you gear.
Yeah.
I was a fast driver. And by the way, it wasn't even close. Didn't I win by
It
like
was pretty
5
close.
seconds in the A class?
Yeah.
That's a lot. My A class time, it hit me later, was only 10 seconds behind his M5 time.
Yes, and the punishment for that was going to be that I was going to have to then accept the A class as a vehicle of mine, which would be a tremendous imposition. So thank God the M5 by I think it was 5 seconds or so. I was safe, so I don't have to take home the A
It was
class.
10. I did like 240 in the A class, and you did like 230 in the M5.
Something to that.
I got
Something
close.
around.
Regardless, I don't have to be stuck with it. It's still your problem currently,
Oh, God.
but not
Could
for much
be your
longer.
problem soon, though.
Could be somebody else's problem.
It would have been
Very
nice.
soon.
Yeah, right. No, by the time this video airs, I think the A class will have already sold. So thank you so much, sir, or ma'am, for buying it. And I wish you
Tremendous
good luck.
I hope you like a squidgy shifter.
The other thing about the A-Class laps were that there happened to be an alternator in the trunk that you did
Yeah,
not know
so
about.
I discovered that about
Did we get that
halfway
on camera,
through it.
Nick Stafford? Did we get that on camera?
I think I mentioned there's something in the trunk.
The part
You
where we
didn't
pull it
mention
out.
it to me.
Okay,
Well,
so,
no.
so I want to give. I guess this probably is in the video, but at some Kennan comes
I was
in.
going around and all of a sudden I heard and I was like, something must have just come loose. At first I thought it was like a camera thing, like maybe a camera fell off and was like loose back there, but it sounded pretty loud. Well, there's something loose in the trunk as well. But I'm in my lap, I can't really stop. And so I conclude the lap and I get out and then immediately we start talking about it and I forget to go to the trunk to remove.
He goes. So he does the lap. Then he like hands over the car to Nick. Was next, right?
Yep.
Nick's halfway out. Kennan's like, by the way, there's.
Oh, also there was something was flopping around in the back.
Oh, the Land Cruiser's alternator is in there. Oh my God, we gotta get that out.
Is it really?
And I remembered at that moment that it was the bad alternator from my Toyota Land Cruiser, which we had left in the trunk. So
we
you
left that
guys
at
did
the track.
alternator laps.
We did alternator laps, yes.
That's good for like 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was heavy.
Right.
It was heavy. It was probably 10
Relative to the size of the A class,
Well,
it probably is.
When it would shift weight, it was altering the balance of the car as it would thump against the side of it because the car is so light.
You know, all drivers have to deal with adversity.
That's right.
Well, I had to go last because I had the fastest lap time in my car.
Right.
So I'd like to think that the brake fade is what really
The brake
hurt
fade.
my lap time on that one. It
That-
was terrifying.
That A class has carbon ceramics.
Oh yeah, like the Carrera GT.
Yeah, that's what they.
The A class
You know,
was
the reason
terrifying.
Nick wasn't fastest was because he doesn't have carbon ceramics, according to him.
Is that one of the claims
It's a
he's made?
factor. It's known that the LP580 is underbraked. They fixed that for the 640.
Calls it the LP580.
The only person to call it the LP580
That's what we call it in the
in
community.
the community, in the group chat, the Murci owners group chat.
Man,
Great group chat.
that's insane. One thing I have to admit I was surprised about, it was Sam and Kennan's first track day. Sam went out there and just nailed the times
Yeah.
of his car. He was good. We've all played all these video games, and so like we have some idea of how to do it. But like the car,
Yeah. There was a ton of pressure on me to perform because I had to go last. And I was very nervous because you were insistent I was going to be the fastest. So
Yeah.
I had to be. But I will say, I got out there, the car is so confident, and my slowest lap was faster than Nick's fastest lap at that point.
boom.
And that's pretty good.
You've been saving that up. haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about how much faster.
That is probably true though. That's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Yeah. And one lap, I was like messing with my radio, still faster than Nick.
That does tell you. I was surprised by that. Were you?
Oh, yeah. I knew it would be good. I didn't know it would be that good.
Same.
And I could have pushed that car so much harder. And I did on a later lap and improved my lap time.
Yeah. No. Each successive lap time you kept improving.
Yeah, it was
it was
amazing.
really something amazing. I really was very surprised about that.
Yeah.
The car also took it like a champ. Like normally your first track day in a daily driver, like the tires are all melted, the brakes are cooked. Like kind of you get some damage when you come home. Like your car was fine. It took the beating very well.
It's so true. I knew it would be good, and my tires had about 3,000 miles on them when we went into it, and someone was like, "Oh, you're gonna need new tires." But I went out there 20 hot laps probably, and the car's flawless. I mean, no lights, no oil, temperature rise.
The Porsches,
tires
that's a
are
Porsche.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
the Porsches did fine. I didn't push the Carrera GT as hard as I probably should have and could have, but the temperature never went up. Nothing. I mean, it had no issues. The Ford GT's temp got pretty hot, and in fact, I think I could have probably done a couple more laps in Ford GT and maybe nailed an even better time. But the temp gauge was higher than I've ever seen it. It didn't get into the red, but I understood what was coming.
right.
And so,
It wasn't a hot day.
so Kennan's car had brake issues, according to Kennan, even though he ran at A-class lap time.
Yes, it did have brake issues. There was a vibration thing, which has since been rectified, but is what it was.
So
It was
Kennan had to
just
put rotors on his car.
pads.
What
rotors
was odd
again.
was I had done all of them. I did a complete brake overhaul of every component of the braking system except for the main brake lines. That's it. That wasn't what caused it. It was, we couldn't determine if it was warped pads or something with the rotors, so I replaced them both, and that did it. So it was a bummer.
E39 life.
E39 life. Dude
Yeah.
does 2 hot laps, 45 seconds off Pobst.
Yeah.
Our hero, Randy Post.
It did. The shop. I took my car into the shop afterwards too, just to like make sure that a clean bill of health. And they said we recommend if you track it to go down a weight on oil, because like your Ford GT, it just gets really hot. And so if you go down a weight, because no one tracks these cars, they don't put the oil in there thinking anyone in the right mind would do that.
Interesting.
But he said it's very normal to see that happen.
What
So-
does a
that-
Murcielago oil change cost? Prefer not to disclose.
My wife is watching, and I don't want to know.
$150.
You know, there's like 10x that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the
about
Murci
what-
tax.
That included a brake fluid flush, oil change, and inspection was about $1,500.
Well, the other thing I was surprised about, I truly was surprised about Sam's just ability to go out there. And that car, I know Sam did well. That car is really, really impressive.
Yeah,
I
and
was-
Kennan then took a lap in my
I know.
car.
I wish I had known that. We could have timed that.
We should have timed it because it was
Yeah.
fast. I mean, I was in the passenger seat, so anything feels fast in your own car.
Yeah.
But it was quick. I mean,
Yeah, the car just gave me so much more confidence in the M5,
Yeah.
and like immediately, it's like you just realize how much greater the performance envelope is, and so I felt more comfortable pushing it for sure. And it's just so fun, and the Boxer Spider lives rent free
Yeah.
in my head.
I know.
Kennan
as
has
it deserves
fallen
to.
in love.
Fallen in love. Kennan wants a Boxer
Such
Spider
a
now. He
wonderful
was a
car.
Ferrari man through and through, knows everything about Ferrari, and now he's like wants a Porsche because he understands. If you drive these cars hard, Porsches are just so capable.
Well, and I hesitate to even think had I been allowed to drive it on the track, and had I still owned it with a 355, would have been like it would have exploded and been an
could you
absolute
imagine?
nightmare.
I can't imagine.
Oh, it would have
think
been
about that.
such
Yeah.
a nightmare. It would have sounded and looked amazing, but it would have
One
been.
lap.
Wouldn't have made it a
Would
lap.
have had a
But
return
it would
though,
not
for
have.
sure.
Maybe would have done a lap. Maybe.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh.
Yeah, it would have been a tough day.
But the other big surprise that I had was that Nick showed up and talked a massive game and crashed and burned. I knew that he wasn't. I knew that he wasn't gonna maybe necessarily be what he said he could be. But boy, what happened?
Okay. I hung with a Carrera GT.
Here comes the excuses.
I would argue that spinning was a way of exploring the limits of the car. And that is what you do at a track, is you understand what your car could be like at its limits.
I do have to say,
I'm the only one that did the assignment.
So you won because you got the closest to the
Yeah,
limit.
you guys were just putzing around. I was like, let's find out where it
Putzing fast.
loses
we
ground.
all putzed faster than you. Me and Sam, did you beat him in the A class or not?
No, he got me by like 2 seconds.
Interesting. So
I
that
know.
tells you something.
I know. I was disappointed. In
You know,
that.
there's a
And
lot of
all
people
I was
out there-
saying during my A-class lap was I just need to beat Nick. And
Yeah.
I'll get to the pits, and I didn't.
There's a lot of people out there being in the same car is the great equalizer. I think we all agree. I think that's kind of the well-known thing. And so if you're in the same car and you all have the same advantages, and the fastest person, that's where they really emerge.
It would have worked well had it not been one of our personal cars that knew it well. And
Knew
then-
it well. I drove the car
My
2
first time
miles.
ever-
It's a piece of
You
crap.
put over 2 tanks of gas in there.
I put 1 tank of gas in that car. I've driven that car maybe 100 miles. Maybe.
I think that's 100
I
miles
think
advantage.
I
on
don't
me.
even think I've driven 100 miles. I drove that car maybe 50 miles. Maybe 50
Wow,
miles.
why did you buy that thing?
He did a full lap in it. What's a lap? 6 miles? 12 miles?
That's true. I have the second most experience, the owner myself.
Why did I buy it? I don't know. It was a mistake. It
Or
was a mistake. But it's gone now as of the airing of this video. But
learned
not
a
right
lesson.
now, boy.
Kennan, your experience in the M5?
You have to have a sports car. Like I love my M5, and it has specifically designed capabilities. Track days is not one of those things. It's a 20-year-old car. I think that there's a lot of the Boxster Spider. Again, I know I've now talked about it quite a bit, but the Boxster Spider is just, it's that good that it's the right amount of everything, including the price. So you're not as scared to push it on a track as he was in the Carrera GT, because the Carrera GT is without question the best car that was there, but it's hampered by its value and how scared you are to use it. And the Boxster Spider is not. Its capabilities are extremely high. It is very reliable and robust, and it's just like it's special. And it's everything you could want in a sports car, and anything more than that is ego, as you found out.
Yep.
Just try.
I agree.
Kennan has come a far way.
I totally agree.
Now that said,
Mr.
I
Ferrari
still
over
have
here.
this-
Right. The first time he drove a Boxster Spider was our friend Kevin's, and he had his Ferrari at the time, and you
Yes.
got out and you said,
It's great. No, I said
Not
it's
a Ferrari.
I said it's great, Kevin. It isn't a Ferrari, which it is not.
and
That is
now
true.
he
But
will
that's
not
the
stop
benefit.
talking about it.
But that's the benefit. That is the benefit of the car in a lot of ways.
So Sam asks you, how is the E39 M5? And Kennan goes
Well,
into,
no,
talks about the
goes
Boxster
into
Spider.
this long diatribe about how great the Boxster Spider is.
Yes, well, that was what I realized. But the there's no question, because Sam and I also did a road trip to Monterey in those two cars. He drove his Boxster Spider, and his friend Edison came in his Boxster Spider, and I took the M5. And I think the M5 didn't have that much trouble keeping up with those cars on the highway.
Yeah.
And additionally, I was incredibly comfortable. That is what the M5 is built to do.
Right.
And
And you
I
were
sat
sailing
at
right past
very
it.
high speeds for a long time, very hot, and that car is very comfortable listening to classical music and stuff. And it was
It's
just
interesting. If you're
what I
going to do
wanted.
high highway speeds, you just get a W210 E55.
Yeah, but I like
Nice
to be
auto.
involved with the car. I don't like to just sit
But
there.
we've just discovered, actually, that the involvement with the car is not. You need a sports car if you
There's
want to
a
really
ba-
be involved with the
There's
car.
a balance. That car is the opposite end of the extreme.
Okay, so the M5, which we've all been
As
told
good
for
as
so
what
long
it-
is the best at all things, we finally found something that is not so great at, perhaps.
Yeah, it's not so great. At least, definitely not in my very incapable hands.
Right.
Randy Post could have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy probably could have rinsed the thing, but yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. The M5 is definitely not. There with the sports cars, it was definitely outclassed. There's no question about it.
Of course. Now, granted, Ford GT, a Murci, a Carrera GT, and a Boxster Spider. But it was like, those are bona fide supercars. This is a 20-year-old sedan.
Yeah.
Call
Nick,
it a
did you have any
Boxster, a
surprises
supercar.
with your Murcielago there?
Not really. I mean, the Murci's not known as a track
Right.
car. I didn't expect it to be the most agile or
It
fast.
was weird seeing it going around.
It was weird.
Yeah.
How many laps was it until the oil light came
It was just always once I'd 3 laps, maybe 2.
on?
But
It's pretty good.
I mean, it would just blip on. You just knew it was getting hot, and was like, I don't like this. Please go back to flexing down Rodeo Drive, and doing whatever this car was intended for.
That's what that car is intended for.
I mean, that's where you see them. That's why it was so crazy to see it on a track,
Yeah.
going around.
I do have to wonder how many Murcielagos have been on the track even this year.
Yeah.
It's got to be a small amount.
Oh, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You might be it.
No, I don't think that's true, but I think he's
It's pretty
one of the
close.
very few. Yeah.
But I do think even with all the put aside the competitive streak and all of that, it's just so special to experience your car on a track. You don't have to worry about police or traffic or
Right.
any physical laws, basically, other than physics. And you could just hear it and experience it, and it's just so fun. The adrenaline rush, if you haven't been out on a track, it is so worth doing.
Yeah.
And if you can do it privately, oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
That's right. That was an incredible opportunity to just be able to kind of do that. Because a lot of these track days with people, you end up with there's 40, 50 people, and you'd get 6 laps, if that. They're spread throughout a whole day. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
you miss a couple of corners, and then that was your day.
Right.
You missed you only had those 5, 6 laps, whatever.
We even took the E450 out there for a lap.
Did a lap in my Mercedes station wagon, although not a hot lap.
Not a hot lap.
Although it deserved a hot lap, but I still could have beaten Kennan. The Randy Pobst thing was really interesting to me.
He came up a lot.
Not because of Randy specifically, but I know that there's a huge difference between a race driver and me, but damn,
Right.
there's a huge difference.
Yeah, and don't forget, he wasn't exactly a young man when he set those lap times either. So
And he wasn't in
In a
he's in a
TT.
TTS.
and he wasn't in a
No
good-
offense to
it was-
TTS
yeah, it wasn't
owners,
in
but
the same car.
I mean, it's just, Like,
Yeah.
it was pretty wild. Like, the concept that, and even Nick, who's over here, I've done this track 38 times. I got my own racing suit. He's like way off pace. I mean, wasn't that surprising at all? I was stunned at how far back we were. I figured he'd be a couple seconds ahead of us. I think if we were in a TTS, we would have been 20 seconds behind him, 25 seconds behind him.
I think if we do this again, we got to bring Randy. And we got to bring like a Altima for all of us to set laps in. And
Okay.
then Randy sets a lap.
So
in
I
that
had
to
that
really
thought,
show
like,
us.
would Randy have been able to get, like, if we were, let's say we were in a Formula One car and knew how to use it, could we beat Randy driving a GT4?
Or an A class.
But really though, like, it's amazing how much better a professional is. You don't think that there's that much extra time that you're leaving out there, but oh my God, are you?
Yeah.
That really, really, really hit me. I was really surprised by that.
I mean, and as good as Randy is too, like even within that special sect of drivers, like
Right.
race car drivers, I mean, you're talking the difference between you get now more of the perspective of how hard it is to find time.
Yeah.
And these guys go out and consistently like the really good racing drivers can find half a second.
Yeah.
The truly ultimate racing drivers can find anything more than that. Like that's how fine their margins.
That's
are.
exactly
That's how good they are.
What if you had Vettel in that TTS?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly.
That would have been something.
Yeah, imagine. I mean, that's what's interesting about it too. And of course, like you talked about a whole bunch of drivers driving the same car to determine who's the best. I mean, there have been racing series where that's done with the 190E, for instance. Like that was something they did
Yeah.
to benchmark drivers. Like
And that's how you know who's the fastest.
yes, or well, all right, I'll leave that. Up to
It
you
was
guys.
interesting. I
You're
found
not even going to take a position. Take the position you want to take. Come on.
Well, all right, yeah. I think you're the fastest driver. Sam has the best car,
Thank you, everyone.
and Sam was capable.
Thank you. That was better.
We put him in the A class. He finished like 7th.
Faded brakes. I still beat Kennan in the A class. Who went first?
He did go first, pre-faded brakes, and he did a parade lap just to get used to the car.
I think there's something to the fact that you were quicker in the Ford GT than the Carrera GT is like just the comfort level in the car.
Yeah.
And I not at all minimizing Randy's talent, but I think getting like a press car where you don't have to like take it home and daily it the next day to work,
Yeah.
like does allow you as a journalist, like if you leave it on the mountain, like it will be okay.
That's an interesting point.
They have insurance for that.
That's an
So he
interesting
could
point.
drive it more like you could drive a TTS.
I mean,
and not
he
be
was
as
probably
fearful.
out there with Audi, who asked
Yeah,
him
who
to set
wants
a time.
them to push it as
Yeah.
hard as they can.
Yeah.
Right.
That's an interesting point.
Versus I'm just like, this is my entire life savings on 4 wheels, and I better not spin it and hit a wall, which I almost did. So.
Well, to be clear, that was another reason why I'm slow. It's my only car. I have no other car. So this is it for me at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I wouldn't get another car, but it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot. And I'm very emotionally invested in that car. So
The
I'm very
area
careful.
I found the most time made up in was the braking zones.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. Like you're coming up hot on a corner in a Carrera
Yeah.
GT. Like maybe you're not braking as late as you could.
In reflecting upon it over the last couple of weeks, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And the Ford GT, I was comfortable taking it a lot further into those braking zones. The Carrera GT, I was terrified.
Yeah.
I
can
that,
imagine.
That was a sad thing about the whole day for me. Like, I would have really loved to like go out there and like nail down the fastest time in that car, or at least close to yours. And I think I could have. I'm not there mentally.
Yeah.
I wonder if you will ever get there.
I think you'd need to have so many
Bezos.
multiples of my net worth. I really do.
Maybe.
That and seat time. I mean, had
Seat
we
time would help.
had we even had a second day, I think we would have all considerably improved. Just like sleeping on it and then like going back the next day.
Interesting. That's an interesting point. Seat
Because
time.
you're tired by the end of the day, and
Yeah.
your lap like, even if you're pushing it harder like I was, like you're gonna just mentally not be as strong.
I think a car that costs $1 million, though,
Yeah,
I
That's
just
gonna mess
it
with
was
your head.
just hard. It was just really, really like mentally taxing.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. It was really cool. But even on the main straight, I didn't floor it. I didn't get up to red line because I'm sitting there thinking about that engine. Like, what if that?
I'm
what
still
if
that way, just like taking my car to Cars and Coffee, where I'm like, oh, what if someone doesn't stop? And like,
Yeah.
you just that paranoia never really goes away.
You do wonder what effect that has on your ability to set the time.
I'm also
There's no
like
doubt.
stunned. You think the engine is the part of the car that had problems? Yeah, as someone who constantly talks about how it was a Formula One developed engine and can rev super high, and that's the part you're worried about. Like, come on, that engine's designed to rev. That's not the part that's going to fail. It's like it would be a lot. It could be a lot of other stuff, but I don't think the
If
engine's
the
the
engine were to fail, it would be the most costly.
Yeah, but it is
Yeah.
probably one of the least likely components to fail. I
But
think.
that's, you know, I mean, what do you think an engine replacement on a Carrera GT is? $400,000? I mean, I'm not looking to do that. And so I don't know. I was just nervous. Brakes, even on that car, are incredibly expensive. I was just generally nervous. It was a lot. It was really, really a lot.
Did you find a difference between the CGT brakes being these big carbon ceramics and the Ford GT being on steels?
I felt that the Carrera GT did not brake as well as I expected it to.
Interesting.
I think that one of the complaints about the carbon ceramic brakes sometimes is that they don't brake as well as you think, but they just fade less.
Yep.
And I certainly didn't feel any brake fade in that car, but it was a little... between the concept of the value of it and the brakes, the way they felt, it just was a little... so the whole thing was just scary. It was cool, like you said.
Yeah.
The experience for me was like being able to do it and like, wow, having this car on track, hearing it, seeing the pictures that have come back, the videos. It's been amazing, but like just being there was just a little scary.
So
I
if
feel
we
a lot
did it
less scared
again next year, would you bring CGT again?
Yeah. Because what a crazy experience. Plus, I get to flex on people. I get a Carrera GT on the track.
And the track we picked too, Chuckwalla, like
great.
is really nice, and it has a lot of runoffs, very few walls. Like that does help. Like I've been to tracks where you go through an infield and like a wrong decision can quickly
Certainly
escalate.
if you're Nick.
Yeah.
Especially
I don't think I would have been comfortable
Where you go
pushing it
through
the
an
way I had though if I knew we weren't in the middle of the desert.
very
or-
few walls, but you almost found the one that was
Yeah,
there.
that's true. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
That's an interesting point. You're right. I've always been nervous. I've been on a bunch of racetracks, and there's always walls are usually fairly close. In that Chuckwalla track, some of the sections have no walls at all. You're
Yeah.
just kind of in the desert, and that's just that. And there's something a little bit comforting about that. Did you have any damage to your car underneath from the spin?
No, none at all. I mean,
It was incredibly dirty.
Yeah, it was very. I first actually got shipped to the detailers and then to get the oil change. And
But
I think
the detailers loved that. Murci coming in from the
yes,
desert.
the interior was something that required a lot of work.
Yeah. Leather cleaner and
Yeah.
glass cleaner.
But thankfully, the car's like kind of a desert sand color, anyways, so it
Silver.
worked out. You know?
It's not, no, it's like a silvery, deserty silver. Yeah, what a day. It was so
Yeah.
cool.
One of the most special moments for me was we did some like B-roll shots, all of us on track at the same time, cruising around like
Yeah.
pretty slow.
Yeah.
And we each like took a turn being in front.
Yeah.
And my rear view mirror
Yeah,
was
so cool.
insane.
So
I was
cool.
like,
Yeah.
if 2007 Sam could see this, he'd be so proud.
Yeah, that's totally true. Some of those were so
The
so
pictures
cool.
at the end too, at the checkered line with
Yeah.
all the cars and like the diamond grid was just like, these are the poster cars. Like it was so cool
Yeah.
to see them together.
That's exactly right.
We always talk with car spotting, like seeing a car at Cars and Coffee isn't that special. Seeing it street parked is like the pinnacle, but seeing them all like at a racetrack, like
Pretty
in
cool.
a non-press event was
Yeah, never happened.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. Totally. How many times has people have taken Carrera GTs? And I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's
not anymore.
crazy. Yeah, not anymore. It really never, ever, ever happens. I also would love to see the Carrera GT in motion, but no one will ever want to use it. So that's the end, you know.
Yeah.
I just have to be content with driving it. it's a sadness. Same with the Countach. Gone now.
I think for me the most terrifying experience of all of them was watching my car be loaded back on the transport. Sam was standing next to me, and like it rolled, and then like
So,
So
wait,
he got
we
it.
we didn't drive the cars there. We transported them all, and the transport was one of those where you pull up and then it does lifts up.
There's an
Okay.
yeah, there's a
So
platform.
you drove it on?
No, the transporter drove it on. But then it rolled back, and then he it rolled back and like was in a position where it was like okay to go up, which is a foot from where the platform ends and falls off into nothingness. And then he like was adjusting something, it started to roll again, and he like hit the brakes really hard, so the whole like thing moved like that, and it must have been like 6 inches from falling off the truck. Now it's very rare they ever fall off the truck. These guys are professionals, but still, Sam and I are both like.
Well, like 30 seconds before, it's just Ken and I standing there watching the cars get loaded, and his beloved E39 M5, another E39 M5, would not be your car.
That's
he would not
true.
love it as
Yes,
much
that's
if
true.
anything happened.
I know,
to
but
that
what
car.
a great story it would
And
be if it fell
I was
off
like,
the
wouldn't
truck.
it, like, isn't this the most terrifying thing ever? And Ken was like, yeah. And 30 seconds later, we almost watched it roll off. From what we could tell,
Yep.
it was terrible.
The guy's a pro. There was
No, I mean,
never a
they're
concern.
good. It was a little close.
It was close. I think even if he had realized how close it was close.
I do hate. As fun as that day is, I only want to do that every year or every 2 years or something because there's a lot of stress that goes into the whole thing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of effort, wear on the cars. You're pushing the cars hard. Anything can really happen. And yeah, transporting is dangerous. Transporting cars is dangerous. It really is. You're in and out of the car in this tight space several times, getting it on the truck, off the truck. Something could happen to the truck. Something could happen to the car while it's being loaded on the truck. Like the whole car. I just want to drive the car around, generally. That's like kind of it.
I agree. I think the big takeaway for me for the whole thing was I would really love to do a track day like at a performance driving school in someone else's cars.
Yes.
Like that's how I think I would
I
like
agree,
to get
but
there.
I think part of the fun of it was being able to do it in like
I
these
know.
cars that we.
Before the next one, I would like to do that. So I'm a little bit.
To me,
training.
doing it in the Ford GT was the best part because I know the car so well. I think that I agree with you generally. Otherwise, you're a little scared because your M5 it's your only car.
That was my first track day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's intimidating. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm being totally honest. Like it's just it is scary, especially when it's like the second most like valuable to me personally like object in my life.
Did you get any great tips from Nick? I know he was there giving some advice.
I gave away
He's
all
given
my
a lot
speed
of
secrets to this guy, thinking he would suck.
You know,
And
when
then
I
he
was going
used them
around, I was
against me.
thinking, Nick gave me all these speed secrets. I got to put them into play.
You did, I'm sure.
No, I don't remember the thing he said.
Probably talking to the turns and cones.
Right, talking to the car.
My first track day, they made you sit in a classroom for an hour.
God, this is why I don't do
Then they made you do
organized track days.
a leader follow thing where
God.
the driver did it and you followed them. Then they wouldn't let you pass. Like it took days to work up to just being able to like free pass on a track.
Yeah.
So I assumed you would have this giant learning curve because they made us do this whole process that you didn't go through. But
No,
apparently
that's
not.
all BS. That's the problem with organized track days. Generally, that's my like biggest thing why I don't do them. You spend the whole day there and you just do nothing. And it's people who are self-important being like, well, here's what you got to learn, Sonny. And I just don't.
Agreed, but a track day like in SoCal, you could probably do for $300, let's say. Renting the track,
It was more expensive than
a
that.
little bit more.
Although
So
we
our
do that-
safety briefing.
there's just
very
like
brief.
you know, if you're willing to be a little bit more patient and have a little more traffic, it's certainly a better bang. For
If
the
you
buck.
got 10 people together, what did it cost to rent the track for the day? Does anybody remember? Do you remember? 8? That
About
included
4 Murci
the.
oil changes.
So if you get 10 people together, you know, and then you'd have to get the cars there somehow. But that's not that
Yeah.
crazy. It's $800 per person or something like that. That's fine.
Yep.
Rather do that than sit in a classroom.
Insert photo of Nick showing us in the classroom.
Right.
Exactly. Gave away the secrets.
Yeah. Well, I think it went great and it was very fun. Apparently, we have some clips that we can react to now. Can we
Right.
see those?
Like Twitch streamers.
Like Twitch streamers. Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Exactly.
Kennan's generation's into it.
What the hell?
Sam is younger than I am.
No, that's Kennan's generation.
Is that true, Sam Zoggy?
Yeah.
Play the clip. Play the
God.
clip.
It's like I said before. It's still just showing
All right,
mute,
before
even though
you
I'm trying
even
to
start,
unmute it.
can we just acknowledge that I may not have been the fastest, but I
Look how
look the
good he
best
looks.
doing it?
Yeah. Okay.
Look at that.
I will acknowledge that.
I love that it's very.
And the car that is style. Oh wait, there we go. There we are. Okay, cool. We have.
We start with my Carrera GT, returning to the track as it has a Formula One engine.
Which it doesn't, of course. You proclaim that it has this Formula One engine, but it doesn't. Originally, it was designed for Formula One.
Thank
but
you
Porsche,
very much. It
but
was originally designed for Formula
However,
One.
can you
That's
tell
all that
me,
matters.
remind me what Formula One car this was using? Because I seem to have forgotten this by having watched the sport since I
It
was
was
a child.
supposed to be in a Formula One car.
supposed
And then
to be.
Porsche was fired. So they repurposed the engine for Le Mans. So it's
Ah,
a
so
Formula One and Le Mans engine.
And what Le Mans car was it using?
it was Porsche decided instead to
and it was-
develop the Cayenne.
It was so competitive on the racetrack that they're like, you know what? I've got a great idea.
It
Let's
would
put
have
it in a
been.
road
It
car.
would have been.
Well, it wasn't.
You guys make such a cute couple.
Kennan's always giving me all this crap for this Formula One engine thing. Hey,
It
what
isn't.
race car was your engine in, huh?
I never proclaimed it was a Formula One engine. Mine's a road car
My
engine.
engine was
is
developed
it.
specifically. I want to just put this to bed. My engine was developed specifically for Formula One, for the footwork Formula One team, an illustrious team with many, many championships, maybe.
Not
the
one.
footwork, who again was illustrious and had championships, they fired Porsche.
Because
The,
the
engines, were breaking
so
all the time.
bad. And they're like, Porsche's like, no, one more time. We do a V10. And they're like, no, go away. You're fired.
So they
Porsche.
fired him. So Porsche took the motor and they went to Le Mans.
And then what happened?
Well, then they put in the Carrera GT.
Yep, because Le Mans was also like, no, the rules changed. This engine's not eligible. And they're like, we have to do something. We put so much money into developing this thing for something that it can't be used in. Put it in a road car. Nobody will care. And they put it in the Carrera GT.
That's right. A race car engine in a road car.
Yep.
My favorite thing about that clip is that is a argument that happens weekly
Yeah.
with that much emotion for the past
Every
year since you got that car.
Which he has acquiesced, and he now says it's a Formula One designed engine.
Right. And I say it just that loudly.
By that same logic,
is a victory
I
for
was racing in a Mura-derived engine.
You were.
The Bizzarini.
There's no
has been
logic.
around forever.
Let me tell you something.
actually are.
That's
Yeah.
real.
Well, they've stretched it out a little bit, made a few changes, but yeah, it was in a
but
Mura.
that-
Bizzarini
Diablo.
put that thing together.
Yeah.
Ferruccio tried to fire him. They ended up using the engine for 75 years.
That's why I was slower. It's an
I got
old
a
engine.
PDK 911 engine.
I had to crank start mine up front, you know?
interesting.
It was
hey,
designed to carry horses.
but you were beaten by the Ford GT Ford F-150 motor.
yeah.
Boom.
F-150
And key fob. Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, that's a tough situation. Okay. All right. So I win that argument. Next.
I want to be clear about this. We'll get to Nick's car in a minute, but Nick is taking this incredibly seriously. He shows up and he's got a monogrammed race bag, and he's come with a race suit
Doesn't
and
everyone
race
have
shoes.
those?
It's ridiculous.
Nick is vastly overconfident. He came here with his own helmet, his own shoes, all this stuff.
It's the socks for me, the Sparko socks.
Do you have Sparko socks?
Yeah.
Come on.
If anyone,
Come on.
you don't have fire retardant socks on, you
he does
have
the
a
car
car
that's
that
most
is
likely
known
to
for
burn
catching
down.
on fire and causing harm. We should be wearing. You should at least be wearing pants.
That is true.
Yeah. Nick came over prepared. Nick, any thoughts on that?
I think I extracted a lot of performance out of a car people didn't expect to do well.
And the Sparko socks really made that difference to do that.
He was upset about my cotton.
I was comfortable and prepared.
Sam was like in boat shoes and shorts.
I was in boat shoes and shorts. Thank you very
If you
much.
fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I was ready.
Nick, let me ask you a question. Do you think you would have been even slower if you hadn't had your own race suit, your own helmet, your own monogrammed bag, your own race socks, and your own race shoes?
You know, people have a lot of superstitions. Hockey players will wear the same socks. It all gets into your mental game. And I think that allowed me to push the car hard. And so in a way, yes, all of this kabuki led me to be confident and push the car as hard as I did.
Interesting. But then you ended up finishing third.
Well, second. second in the A class and would have been second in the street class had I had a little bit more grip. As an M4 driver famously said leaving cars and coffee, I think my one tire was just a little bit short on PSI.
The
Otherwise,
greatest internet moment.
it would have been a flawless execution.
No, I think that I'm glad you prepared so well, and it was absolutely ridiculous. And it always seems to me when I've done track days that the person who shows up with the most like stuff and like brag is usually one of the slower drivers, and we did indeed find that out.
He was dressed for success, though.
Right.
I feel like if you got the suit, you got to wear it too. You know,
Right. True.
safety third.
Okay, what is this?
Safety, sir.
All right. Now, he was insistent he would get about a 2-minute lap.
Right.
Randy Pobst in a GT3.
Right. The fastest driver in an incredibly fast track car, he thinks he's only 4 seconds fast. You got to appreciate confidence like that.
Okay, that first lap was 2:16.72. I have a theory that will be his best lap.
I agree.
Because that car is going to be hot.
I assume the
He's
brakes don't
scared.
work already.
The brakes are going to be fading like crazy.
Man, I smell something burning. I think that's just brakes, hopefully, but it smells toasty. Oh yeah. Grippy, grip. I shouldn't have committed 2 minutes. That was a bad idea. You think he's having fun out there? He's probably terrified. These brakes are terrifying. Oh, and I'm way off the line here. Oh, more squealing. Oh, she's drifting. Boom. Like a pro. He let off.
He let off there.
That was his fastest lap, and he let off at the end.
He's improving.
I hate that.
Good, he saw.
What great.
He saw the
he
exit.
almost missed
Oh,
it.
he missed it. He missed the exit.
Missed the pit lane for the second time.
Forgot about that.
I did it again. They're gonna make fun of me for that, but I probably deserve it. Oh, I love how consistent he is.
And I don't know if you heard in the last straight, the engine cut out a little bit.
Yeah,
We
we
thought you lifted off.
I did not lift. That was the oil light flashing and pulling back my throttle.
I cannot wait to see this. That was the first time I've seen
I
that.
forgot.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
I forgot that you had asserted that you would run a 2. And do you remember he said that you would run a 3?
Right.
Do you remember
that?
that?
I would be a minute behind him.
What was that about?
I thought there would just be a learning curve.
There was some ego going on.
There was some substantial ego. I forgot that he thought he was
I also forgot that he only did 2 laps and missed the pit exit both times.
Yeah.
Right.
Comes up on you quick.
You know, he missed
So
it on
quick.
the last time too.
Right.
I was looking for the cones, not the runoff. You know, you're focused on them.
So the Murci wasn't really necessarily the car for
Okay,
that.
one who sounded and looked so cool.
It does look
It
really
was
look really
If there's anything in the Murci is at, is it's just looking striking from any angle and sounding so cool.
Especially at that track in like the middle of the desert, looking
Yeah.
like a UFO
Yeah.
out there.
It really does.
And
Yeah.
sounded incredible. Hearing you go by at full throttle, I mean, both of you were insane.
Yeah. All right, pull up the next one here.
All right, so how do we think Doug's going to do on this?
He's very competitive, so I think
Hyper-competitive.
I suspect it's gonna be like 220, but it's also a very expensive car. I think it's gonna be 220 something. It's like, I'll bet it's closer to 215 maybe.
He had some confidence from doing the Storado press day, but then he revealed that half of that track was actually in the dirt. And so I think that won't be
I've
as
driven this
relevant.
Is there anything that sounds better? What a treat to hear a Carrera GT at full throttle.
I got
that sounded so
219.14
good.
on that one.
219.21.
There's 3 great feelings in the world, all right? Peeing after you've been holding it a really long time.
Uh-huh.
The first slice of cheesy, gooey hot pizza. And beating Doug at the track.
What is wrong with you? Insane.
What a car.
What a car.
The oil temperature is perfect. The water temperature is perfect. No warning lights at all. And no brake fade, obviously. Car felt like it could have gone another 10 laps.
But the
20
question
laps.
is, how do you feel like you did?
I don't know. There's so many turns to keep track of. That 4th lap, it makes. I tried to go a little bit faster as I went, but I was just so afraid. I never hit red line, and I never floored it. Maybe once or twice.
I cannot say the same. So that
I just was worried about it the whole time, and you got to hang back a little bit. I just
Do you
feel
like
it's
you're
a
going to be
little-
faster in the GT, the
Yeah,
Ford GT?
maybe. This
Because you
car,
care a
this
little
car
less?
has so much more precision that I think this is the faster car. I just maybe need to feel a little bit more comfortable with it.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
That was the problem. That was the faster car. There's no doubt in my mind that the Carrera GT was the faster of the 2 cars. It feels so tight and it's so precise. It just made me nervous. I forgot about how many turns there were. That was a factor as well. Did you not feel this way?
Who could keep up?
It was like Nick had all these suggestions on all the turns, which was helpful. But then I'm like so out there, and I'm just like, this is like the 38th turn. Can we just get this one done and hit the next one?
That's why I thought I would have such a gap on Sam, is that I had spent all night before watching YouTube videos and studying the lines. I wanted to do a racing sim, but I didn't have enough time to build a rig.
You didn't disclose
To
that you did
build
prep
a-
work.
Well, and
You
I also
did what?
I
You spent
emailed
the whole night
I
before.
emailed Alyssa asking her, and I dropped everyone saying, "Will it be clockwise or counterclockwise, and what configuration?" So that you guys wouldn't have the edge. Again, I thought like I will just get an advantage there. So it didn't surprise me how many turns there were. I had watched it.
It didn't surprise me.
Still, I took him by 10 seconds.
I also feel like that video makes it pretty conclusive. I was the faster driver. I beat
What?
you by
What?
I beat you by 3 to 4 seconds
that's
on
it?
our first sessions. Any improvements there were you learning the track better potentially, but like
That's
I was
how
like,
it
how you
worked.
become the faster
and
driver.
you all commented that my throttle wasn't all the way down for the lap that was my fastest. So
Well-
in theory, I should have been faster.
Well,
That was a car
Hon,
limitation.
I'm sorry. That's the way it works.
If you-
First off, you're insane on so many levels.
I
First
beat you
off-
by
so many
4
levels.
seconds with my car being hampered and basically in limp mode. As I was
First off,
crossing.
if your car can't handle it, sorry.
No, we're talking
Get
driver,
a
not
Porsche.
car. We're talking best driver, not best car.
Okay, well, hopefully we do some A-class stuff later.
Well, that's, yeah.
We got excuses for that, too.
Right.
I had an alternator in the trunk that Kennan didn't tell me about. Kennan was like, screw this guy.
Give him crap for this.
Nick,
Kennan agrees.
if you are a Formula One driver and you go to a track and you walk around 40 times looking at each corner, and then you get in a car, that does not mean that you deserve to qualify on pole position. That's not how it works.
let
You
me-
may
let
have
me-
prepared a lot, but you're not the fastest
This is
driver.
great in terms of Formula One. In this race, I was Lewis Hamilton, best driver, but in a car not quite suited for the conditions. Doug and Sam were Max Verstappen, that it didn't, just the car's so good, it doesn't really matter.
Are
We
you,
could just go out there
a
and
second
crank
ago
it.
you said you think you're the best driver because you had the time, but I learned and got better, and that makes you a better driver.
He spent all night
I'm just
researching.
saying, had we ended the video there, I would have taken home the trophy.
Well, that's it. Okay, yes.
Before
you're right.
I did a lap.
If you had ended before the cars that beat you went on the track, you would have been the fastest driver. You know, Nick, if you had done the track day by yourself, you also would have been the fastest driver.
I just think, that would have been a good place to end the video.
Okay, all right. Give me the Kennan.
Time to drive the E39 M5, and I am truly just going to take it easy. The whole purpose of this for me is just to say more or less that I've done it. So I'm not really looking to go particularly fast here.
All right, Kennan is rolling around the track, and I emphasize the term
I know this is a
rolling.
warm-up lap, but he's taking that incredibly serious.
Do you think he's listening to Jess?
Oh, yes.
I am a little nervous that it's been a minute 4 and he's over there.
What is that?
I hesitate almost to say.
Is it over 3?
It's quite a bit over 3. 3:06:14.
Wow.
This is so cool. I know I'm going really slow, but I don't really give a shit. It's so cool.
That's pretty good. 8 seconds?
So he's only 22 seconds off of me.
Wow, the mighty E39.
It looks so good still.
It does look good.
First question that we all have, what happened on the 3rd lap?
There's a really bad vibration that got increasingly worse.
Oh, and the flap.
Really?
Oh, that is
Under braking, it's just like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like.
That's a good
I think it's
drive.
either a warped rotor or something like that, which is amazing considering I replaced these rotors like 5,000 miles ago. So that's
Classic.
the way. I put a lot of money into this engine this year. Perfect. Everything was like flawless. I didn't have any issues with that. The steering was great when it wasn't vibrating away. And I listened to jazz and was comfortable and had fun.
Boom.
So the vibration, as you can see, was pretty bad. To be clear, like the thing that fell down, the center armrest, that will also come down if you have all 4 windows open. Like it just falls down very
But
easily.
to hear the shuddering
Yeah.
as you were braking.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Now
Yeah,
you
that
can
was
see
pretty
why
bad.
I had to like. I was
I
like,
thought that
okay.
was you being just like a little overly sensitive. Like, oh, there's a slight vibration if you try really hard.
No, it was
That's
like it
serious?
was there.
No.
When you pushed through, it was only at 60 miles an hour though. Like if it was like above that, fine. Below that, fine. Right at 60, that's when it did it. That's when it
Yeah,
was bad.
no, that was really, really clear from that.
That's why. Now you make fun of me for being scared of it. But that's why.
No, what I make fun of you for is having to replace your brake rotors twice within 5,000
Yeah,
miles.
that's an oddity. I certainly hope I don't have to do that again. I'll tell you that.
The E39 M5, a paragon of durability as ever.
The Enzo clutch only lasts, 3,000 miles? So.
No, an Enzo, you know what?
1,500
though?
miles.
An Enzo could have done, I bet, 6-7 hot laps before they had to do a clutch. So, it's a pretty good car.
I did
good
not
car.
get a snap rating on my car after this, but I probably should have.
Yeah,
It
you
would have
probably
been
should.
interesting.
No, I bet it wasn't that big of a deal. It's not like you were backing up any hills.
Right, that would be way worse.
It would be worse. All right, give us the next one here.
All right, Sam is rolling.
Dude, if he beats me, I'm gonna be so bummed.
Oh,
Especially
he's
on his
definitely
first
going to
lap.
beat you. Yeah, Sam.
Holy crap. I got a
How was
2:14:11.
that?
2:13:56.
Sam.
Oh my gosh. With 0 track experience, beat a Murcielago on his first lap.
And as I have been saying for
That
weeks, that is
says a
why
lot.
that car is so good.
I'm mad because I've been giving Sam all this great advice that I would have been withholding had I known he was going to be competitive.
Hard brake.
To 11:44.
Sammy.
And I think that's one of the best sports cars ever to exist.
I agree.
Because you can bang out crazy driving and enjoyment like this. It's the perfect car.
It's the perfect car. It's the perfect balance of everything. Look at that smile.
That was so much fun.
You still beat Nick, even on that lap. Your worst lap was 2:13:65.
Oh, my worst lap was better than Nick.
What What kind of socks you wearing?
All cotton, baby.
Oh, that's so good. Man, it sounded great going by.
Yeah. Boy, that was just amazing. It was amazing to see it just do so well.
I love how bummed Nick was.
Yeah.
So quickly.
And then he goes, he beat a Murcielago.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't beat me. He beat the car.
God, it's interesting how it shifts.
Right.
Sometimes it's if Nick is in the lead, then it's the driver. If he's not, then it's the car.
I truly don't remember a single piece of advice you gave us on the way to the track. It was 6 a.m, and I don't remember any of it being that valuable.
No, he did give one good tip, which is that you have to either be accelerating or turn. Like, you can't do two things at once. I think that's good
Don't
advice.
brake and turn. You might spin out. Not that that worked out well for me.
Right. How'd that go?
That was more just the car was unsettled. I just got onto the gas too early, so it was the opposite problem. But
Well, but that was
On
it
old
was
tires.
the same basic problem because you were turning
Yeah.
hard and yeah, that was
yeah,
amazing.
I mean, you were just like flawless in execution. You were like just quiet, focused, doing your thing.
I was so quiet. I was gripping hard.
There's definitely less drama in that car. I mean, it's just made for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It literally is made for. Then again, all of our cars sort of were.
Right.
Not all of them.
Well, mine is the newest, so
Yeah.
they made progress.
That helped.
Yeah.
And it's just so natural to drive that car and feel good. I always felt that car like makes you feel like Superman.
Yeah.
Like you just feel you can do anything because it's so you have such a great knowledge of everything about the car just from 2 seconds sitting in it.
Yeah.
The way it feels, the way the clutch feels, how big it is. You can just tell all that stuff where it's so naturally great.
It'd be a great car to use as the car we all drive fast.
Yeah, except now
Except
you
I don't want to
experience it.
I don't want to give mine.
And he's going to complain about that. No, you certainly don't want him in yours.
It is interesting. The gearing is so tall that you could do the whole lap in third gear.
Yeah.
Basically.
I was
You didn't
second and third the whole
second-
time.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's all you need for that car.
Yeah, so was I, man.
I think all the cars matched our personalities well. The M5 is like, don't rush me. I'm going to do things at my own pace.
Right.
And if you do, I'm going to break down. Sam's car was just no drama,
Right.
precise, did things well.
Right.
The CGT just is you. And I was a little dramatic, and so was the car. It all worked.
Highly stylized.
Right. You were the sledgehammer. I was the
Yes.
scalpel.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, give us this next one. This is the Ford GT.
Here comes Doug, full of sugar and fully.
Car looks so cool. I'm very
I'm
nervous.
so
for this.
scared for this.
This is a highly competitive man who
This-
got beat.
That's a very fast car with a lot of horsepower, no traction control,
Right.
and it's known for not necessarily being the easiest thing to drive.
He does know it very well, though.
Look at that seating.
I didn't have a
My
chance.
gosh, that is ridiculous.
Man, Ford GT out on a track in the desert.
Yeah.
A lot of cars that people don't track anymore out on track today.
Not only not tracks, but most of these cars sadly just sit in like basements and people brag about how little they drove them and what a huge mistake that is.
Right. And that's one thing I've always appreciated about Doug. When he first got Carrera GT and we did that first mountain drive,
Yeah.
in the rain with the top down and driving the thing.
Two 16?
1676. So
Wow.
he shaved off
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Wow, it does look cool. Look at that, little Doug shoved in there. Kinked neck.
Head structural to the car.
It felt fast, faster than the Carrera GT. I was able to push it more. How'd we do?
2:14, 45. I think
So
you
I beat
beat
him.
Nick by a
Yeah.
tiny bit.
I was killing it on one lap, and then there was like a sandstorm,
saw
and it
that, yeah.
totally blocked my view of a corner. Like I went into it and I could not see a thing, like literally nothing, and I just had to kind of guess, and that screwed with that. That car is better. It handles better. I can do more with it. I can precisely place it where I want, but this car is just, I just don't worry about it as much, and that's just that.
That's that.
And I beat Nick.
And you beat Nick.
Yeah, I forgot about the sandstorm. I also forgot how folded into that car was such a nightmare.
Yeah.
I honestly think I could have gotten another 2 or 3 seconds if I just wasn't so uncomfortable. Driving that car was really, 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 really hard. And actually, in the end, in that clip, you saw like this helmet is like pushed up on my face. It's because I borrowed somebody's like
Yeah,
extra
mine.
small helmet to like really try to get like a little bit more headroom. It was impossible to drive that car. That really screwed with it. I was literally like pushed down the whole time. It really kind of sucked.
Yeah, that was tough. And I shouldn't have lent you my helmet because I got back a sweaty helmet.
Well, it was so hot, and I was so like crammed in there with that stupid helmet.
Did you have
know
the
what
AC off for extra power?
Hell yeah, so did he.
Hit everything off, yeah. Have you considered a GTX1
Should have
conversion?
gotten a GTX one.
You would have been much quicker.
Should have had a GTX one. I did killing it with a GTX one.
Only
I
an
would've
extra
run a
200 grand.
Those were all interesting. It was interesting to see and be reminded of some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I totally forgot how tight it was in that stupid Ford GT. I wish I should have just tried that helmet off. What worse would have happened?
There was not much oversight.
They weren't around. What would they have done?
You could have gotten one good lap out of it, and that's all you needed.
Right.
Probably could have cut another 2 seconds off a neck.
Right. That would have been good. But then he would have been like, I need to do it, no helmet. And then he would have, and then he would have rolled over and died.
Right.
I'm bringing a TTS next time. That's all there is to it.
Have him drive your car for you. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Like the rich guys at Ferrari Challenge.
He'd probably get around the same time.
Right. No way he could be faster than Nick.
Yes.
All right, there we go. We've learned a lot. Any parting thoughts?
We should do that again.
Yeah, no,
That
we
was so
definitely should
much
do it
fun.
again. It was so great.
Being on track is such a cool experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even just having no rules and no laws that apply. It's just like the freedom you feel on there is insane.
Yeah.
Just 3 miles of like amazing tarmac to just do what you can.
Yeah,
And
I
Nick,
agree.
Spinning around.
Yep.
No regrets. I was glad when the shop was like, your car's fine, all that stuff. But no, it was fun. It was neat to go from when I first got the car and like on that cruise you mentioned, I had like a 350Z like tailing me because I was so afraid to push it. So to go from that to like being able to push it hard enough to like find the limit.
I
was
do
pretty
find
cool.
myself feeling more confident in the cars, even on like highway on-ramps and off-ramps. Not that I'm like pushing them, but I've always wondered, especially because Ford GT, like you guys were saying, has such a rep. I mean, Carrera GT to an extent also, but Ford GT especially in my mind, having now owned both, such a rep for kind of becoming unstable. Now I kind of feel like I have a better concept of where it's going to become unstable. Even though I didn't actually spin it on the track, I went so much harder than I do on the road that I realized like I'm probably not going to encounter this issue on the road.
I've been apexing everywhere. Watch out, San Diego.
Kennan, well, the one thing that surprises me about you is, you're the biggest Formula One fan. I thought you'd like maybe have like an epiphany here and be like, I want to do track days. And instead you were like, I never want to do this.
I just want to watch Formula One.
I
Yeah.
just want to watch Formula One.
I have an affinity for those drivers, and I have just such tremendous respect for what they're able to do. Even like it's someone who's at the back of the grid, like their capabilities are so high compared to everybody else. But it was just a special thing to be out there with some of my closest friends and in some very special cars. Like it was an experience I didn't take for granted and I won't forget. Do I want to drive my M5 on the track again? No, but I really enjoy like
Maybe
maybe
a future Boxster Spider.
maybe a Boxster Spider.
I think Ken and I are going to have twin cars next year.
Spooky spiders.
What a moment.
Spiders.
Okay, and with that, we say goodbye. I am the fastest driver.
I am as well.
Second.
I am the fastest driver. When we all got in the same car, you have the fastest car, I have the fastest driver.
Good to be the fastest driver.
And
You
I'm
were
the most
fastest car.
I'm the most flame retardant.
I had
That's
fun.
for sure.
Fun, yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.